Gibson.
Hey.
It gets very quiet for meditation. I mean homework.
Okay, thank you everyone. So let's come to the very last homework of praise of dependent. Okay, number 1. Hangu chu dama badra gahis nenguchu.
By doing retreating ritu?
Yes. Let me see. Okay, because from his 40 to his age of 80, except for a few times when he went out to teach and study, he spent most of his time in the Nguchu hermitage, practice only and meditating only. Okay, so what is the English for Nguchu? Quicksilver. Do you have another, what quicksilver means? Mercury and alchemical liquor that transform things into bodhicitta with emptiness. Oh. Okay, what event occurred that caused the master to feel deep sorrow, leading him to the idea of wanting to do a retreat in solitude? Not his student. Yeah, parent and another relative. Not uncle.
His brother?
Aunt. His aunt. Yeah. When he was 19 years old, in the first month of the year of Iron Dog, his mom turned 42, and his very loving aunt passed away at the same time due to the plague. So this left his father alone, surrounded by many infants who couldn't provide food and drink for themselves. So this caused him immense sorrow, and he told his Dharma about this situation. His Dharma replied, you can go to the Nguchu hermitage to do the retreat. Okay, what is Sa'empa?
Far off place.
Yeah, Diamond Mountain.
Yay!
Yeah, solitary place. Okay, the last one. Why his Lama told him he should stay in Nguchu hermitage to do the retreat? What's the reason? What is the one kind of qualify if you want to do a meditation?
Because it's a quiet, far away place.
He wanted to join Mountain House.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Nick, answer. Because it is monetary distant and has the blessing from the past teacher. Yeah, so I think Diamond Mountain also blessed by the past teacher and moderate distant. So what is distant?
Is it Yun Ring or Ring Tung or something?
Yeah, near ring.
Okay.
Yeah, cool, Nick. Okay, let's go to my translation. Okay, here. So I will do my 2 section. 今年给路那么滚波抛些呗，像我能卡望要去夹cure，且把店内给路数 cure， 翁讲滚贝明马救娃，让家属捏把嘞。
Good reading. Now let's look at the translation. Then the monastery was converted into a Tsongkhapian monastery by the Tsongkhapian Lama Gumbo Bell, who was supported by Shangon Namkha Wangyal. The new master didn't change him. Good, nice. Yep.
Okay.
Good. So, by the way, why is the name of that monastery significant?
It's your monastery.
It's the temple in New Jersey, the Mongolian temple in New Jersey was named after this monastery, Rashi Gempeling. So Mongol will say Rashi Gempeling. Tibetan will say Dashi Gibeling. Same thing. Okay, so it's cool.
Okay.
That's kind of the source of the Mongolian temple where I studied for 25 years. Cool. Coincidence, just a coincidence. Okay.
Second one, Loma Kechen Nga Wang Nian Zha Tang, Reboot Truku Lo Sao Den Gyong, De Chen Druku Lo Sang Tsuchin Sok Mango.
Yeah, and he translated it correctly, and it's basically just a list of the important students of Quicksilver Lama. By the way, this Diamond Mountain Retreat Center was founded pretty deeply on Quicksilver Lama's presentation of Vajrayogini. He was a great, great Vajrayogini practitioner, and we translated his commentaries. And so there's a big connection between him and this place. Yeah.
Okay, over to you, Lama.
Over to me. All right, good job. By the way, we are close to finishing Gibson's second book, right? And today we will start his third book, which is really, for a translator, that's a big deal. Yeah. They're not ready yet. Okay. Let me get this. Oops, sorry. Yeah. All right, and we're reading the short biography of the author of the book that Gibson will finish today, okay? Because in the mixed nuts, we like to put some information about the author. In many cases, in the ancient books, we know nothing about the author. So we work really hard in the mixed nuts to try to give you some background. For example, now we know why his name was Quicksilver. Because he lived there. He lived at Quicksilver. And it was a retreat center like DM. And he spent almost his whole life there. Okay, which is cool. All right. Who's going to read, Gibson? You shouldn't read because your reading is too good.
Okay. Win.
Yay, win. Here comes the microphone. Flying microphone. Good catch.
Thank you, I tried. Không chỉ sung ni nghe bề chok khả du khả phá nas cha phe pa po ti chok chung yok ching.
Nice. Wow.
Thank you.
So this biography comes from a very valuable catalog of ancient books that we got from Tibet. And they have some short biographies of the different authors. And here's a sentence about Kong means
He
and Kongki means
is
his sung.
his word, spoken word.
His and in spoken Tibetan. So this, by the way, the language of the biography, you guys have not met yet, and this is modern language. We haven't studied. The average age of the books that we're translating is about 1,000 years old. So here's real modern Tibetan dialect, and we haven't had it yet. Okay, spoken colloquial. Okay, Kongge Sung. So in that case, Sung means his writings. Okay, his writings. Nge is a modern word for nga. Yeah, our benzikang.
Library.
Yeah, say benze kang. Everybody say benze kang. Kang is any kind of building. It doesn't matter. All buildings are called kang. Like what's at Songkang is a store. Menkang is a hospital. And a bei means pecha.
Tax.
Yeah, ancient book. Ze means kosha.
True.
Treasure house. So ancient book treasure house means our library. In our library of ancient books, we have kappa, from kappa up to chapa.
From Ga volume to Cha volume.
Yeah, so volumes of books, volumes of one author are not named 1, 2, 3. They're named A, B, C, D. Okay, so we have Ka up to Cha, which is how many?
6.
Six books. Poti.
Bodhi.
Poti is an ancient word for book. Okay, it's probably from Nepalese or something. Poti. And here's an interesting verb. Shuk. They didn't say ne. Why? Shuk is high honorific. Like you would say the lama is shuk today in the house or something. Okay, you only use it for very high things, which is a book. So they don't say we have the book. They say the beautiful book is gracing us by its presence in our library. You know, thank you for sitting in our library. Okay, it's a very beautiful modern honorific. Okay, Benzakong. Say Benzakong. Okay, keep going. You want to read? Oh, you want someone to read?
Angelo.
Angelo, don't do it with a Canadian accent, okay? It doesn't work.
Well, I must say, I've never read, and I've never been taught.
There's always a first time.
This is the first time, so where am I starting?
At Nung. And don't worry, Gibson's going to help you.
On the top. Nung dong ring.
Yeah. Be.
Pe shark.
Good.
Tung.
Sang.
Sam. Par. J.
Komang.
Komas ke. Shok. Mong shok. Ning pong.
Kongni.
Komni.
Koni.
Ringne.
Ring ne.
Yeah.
Good.
Kunla.
Kunapa.
Good. Shi Ingbe.
Xing ning pe.
Nice. Okay, yay. So, Nangden Rigbe Kor. So, in the ancient India, there were Buddhist sciences and non-Buddhist sciences. Non-Buddhist sciences are like architecture, sculpture, medicine, Sanskrit study. And Buddhist sciences are called Nangden Rigbe Kor. So, his books about Buddhism, there are many books by him about Buddhism in our library. That implies there are also books that aren't about philosophy, okay? And he's going to get to that later. Kepar means?
Particularly.
Yeah, particularly Sangaki Kor.
Secret mantra.
Yeah, we have many Diamond Way books by him in our library that you don't even know about. Okay. Mangsha.
The most.
Yeah, most of the books we have by him are secret. Okay. Ma means that is the case, but Konge Rigne Kun. He was a Kepa in all the Rigne.
He is the master of all science.
Yeah, all the Buddhist and non-Buddhist topics of wisdom. He was a master. Sheikh Yimbe. And then the PAS.
By.
Therefore,
okay.
and then the next sentence comes. Look, he was a tantric master. Okay, most of the books we have in our library are tantric, but he was also a master of all the sciences, both Buddhist and non-Buddhist. And then he's going to give some examples. Who's going to read?
Chloe.
Chloe, yay!
Louder.
Okay, sorry. K Chuk Si Tui Shao Long Suk Sun Tak Kor Tang Ngong Juk Kya Choi Su Sik Tang.
Soktang.
Sok Tang.
Nice, good. Yay! In the Chapa volume, Dep is the modern word for book. Okay, so in the Chapa book, you can see books about. Core means about Sumtak.
30 verse of grammar.
Yeah, and this as a genre, it means classical grammar. Okay, so what we're saying is, look, he was a tantric master, and he wrote a lot of philosophy, but he also knew other topics. For example, grammar, classical grammar, which is difficult. It's a difficult topic. My teacher made me memorize this book before he would teach me. And then he says, Xiaolong means the oral commentary, okay? Xiao is the high word for mouth. Oral commentary by the great master Situ. So Situ was a great Tibetan grammarian, okay? A couple hundred years before. Okay, so he wrote a commentary to Situ, which is a big deal. Okay, it's like writing a commentary to Einstein or something. Okay, so he's a smart guy. And then who's gonna read this sentence?
Alexander.
Alexander. Yay!
I also never read something, but okay.
No problem.
Yang ga ki dan ko
句点句
kapso
Good.
gram
nimbo
Good.
do aka enyen kyo rik yang mang po yod.
糖
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
na ki
Naki.
Naki
Lok.
lok
lok
ka
ta
Nice.
ka nye
前面
Near.
koi rik
Rik.
yang
Kyang.
mang
Mambo.
po yo.
Yeah. By the way, if you want to learn Tibetan, to read Tibetan well, go to Words classes. He's a great teacher. Okay. All right. So Nyangak means poetry, and I think it's misspelled here, but we'll check. Denja means
commentary.
Shastra, yeah, called the essence of the ocean. Okay, so he was a master of grammar, and he was a master of poetry. And Yikurwa, difficult word.
the word.
Yike means
Writing.
correspondence,
Oh.
and kur means sending correspondence. And there's an entirely different language that I have never taught you for writing letters. Okay, and my teacher, the President of the United States, wrote a congratulations to the head of West China at that time for winning World War II. And he wrote it in, the head of West China at that time wrote a congratulations letter to the President of the United States, Harry Truman. And they wanted to put it in his presidential library. And they couldn't find anybody to translate correspondence Tibetan, which is extremely difficult. And so I helped him. And then he taught me that language. It's quite difficult, and it's very interesting, and it's almost gone. Okay, but anyway, it's a big deal. He knew how, he wrote a book about correspondence, proper correspondence language, which is very difficult, okay? And he wrote a book about how to lok ngak.
How to reading the mantra.
Yeah, how to read mantras, and that's very difficult. Supposedly, a mantra doesn't work so well if you mispronounce it. So he wrote a book about how to pronounce mantras correctly, and he was one of the rare teachers who understood Sanskrit pretty well. and his student also learned pretty well. So, Lok Tap Che, Nirko. Nirko means total necessity for everybody. Mumble.
Very.
Yeah, he wrote many other books about these essential topics like how to write letters, how to read mantras, how to write poetry, and how to write proper grammar, okay? In addition to being, I would say, one of the top 5 tantric writers in Tibet, okay? One of the top 5. Amazing, amazing writer. So now I have something sad to tell you. We finished Gibson's second book. It's the birthday of his book, okay? You ready, Mayor? It's the birthday of his book. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gibson. Happy birthday to you. Woohoo! Wow. So I'm sure someone will cut it and share it now. Because life is impermanent, you gotta eat cake when you get it. But it's very difficult to finish a translation. It takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of, perseverance. And Gibson has really, really done well to learn Tibetan, and he's translated 2 very important books. These 2 books will join a series of books that we call pocket books, and they are meant to be carried in your purse or in your coat pocket, and they are very, very valuable for everyday life. You can sneak it into the bathroom at work in your coat pocket, and you can read Tsongkhapa in the special places. So I'm very, very happy that he finished, and I'd like to thank him again. And the real reason he succeeded was his wife, Emily. By the way, they worked for many years to fundraise for all of our projects, and I'm also very grateful for that. Thank you for that. So now I thought Gibson would be ready for a more difficult book, and what we chose was called Essence of Eloquence, okay, on the art of interpretation. And it's probably the most important concept that Je Tsongkhapa ever had. And Tsongkhapa was disturbed by the fact that Lord Buddha apparently said sometimes things are not empty in the first turning of the wheel. In the second turning of the wheel, he said everything is empty. In the third turning of the wheel, he said maybe it's empty, maybe it's not empty. And Tsongkhapa was very disturbed by the difference in the different schools of Buddhism. And he explored that question his whole life. And then later he wrote this unbelievable book about how do you know when the Buddha meant what he said, and how do you know when he didn't mean what he said. And he was just making it simple because the audience was not of a high, they hadn't been trained yet. And so how do you decide? And this applies to your teacher, to your private teacher, like your teacher tells you to do something. There's a famous example a teacher had 3 students. He taught them for a couple of years. And then he said, it's getting difficult to survive. And I would appreciate it if you 3 guys went and robbed a bank. And 2 of the students were like, we are loyal to the teacher. We will go and rob the bank, and he said, okay, bye. And then the 3rd one said, according to what I understand, what you taught us, you are testing us today. And you want to find out if I will really rob a bank or not. And I refuse to go. And then the teacher said, I have 1 good student. Okay, so this is the rules for when do you decide what the teacher really meant. And it's a very, very important book in the history of humans. In 50,000 years, this is one of the most important books. It's a revolution. It's a groundbreaking book. And I've been saving it for the best translator. And I was waiting to see if he was serious, and now he's worked how many years? 5 years?
3 years.
3 years, and he's finished 2 books. And so he's going to do it. Okay, here we go. You can say you were there when it was started. Okay. And in the Geshe studies, it's considered a great honor to read this book. Only special people get to read this book. And in my Geshe course, I finished my Geshe, and my teacher wouldn't teach it to the whole group. And then after we got our Geshe, I begged him to teach it, and he agreed to teach it to 2 people. And one of them dropped out, which wasn't me. And then I brought my students from New York, I think 20 or 30 students. 11 the first year. And the second year, I think it was 30 or, more people. And a strange thing happened. When he agreed to teach this book, he was a great master. He passed away recently. He was a great, great master. And the monastery came the first day, and they begged him to allow them to broadcast it to the monastery. So we didn't have internet, we didn't have anything. They hooked up loudspeakers throughout all the streets of the monastery. And he spoke, and he taught me and a group of my students, he taught us this book. It became ACI Course 15. It was the foundation of that course. But it's much, much deeper. The original book is much, much deeper. So, and then I translated for him. And that was, very difficult. And for 2 years, I think, something like that. And so I really appreciate the Pure Gold project of Stanley and Xiaoping to offer translators. They train them and they pay them, and it's a lot of money. Should I tell you how much? It's between 100 and 200 per year, if you know what I mean, in US dollars. And they pay them, and then they work and they translate for everyone for free. Okay, and it's extremely difficult to translate spoken Buddhism. And so we're very, very lucky to have all of our translators. We have, I think, how many languages? I don't know, 12? Something. 12 different languages are being translated today. And we'd like to thank the translators. And we're really grateful. And I'm sorry I talk so fast. Yeah, I got a headache every day. I went home with a terrible headache trying to translate from my teacher. And so I know how hard it is. And we're very grateful. So here we go. This is a big deal. In your mind, it's a tradition to dedicate some, right now, like we'll stay silent for 1 minute or something, and get your motivation right. I will try to sit through Gibson's classes on the art of interpretation, and I will try to serve all living beings on all planets with what I learned in Gibson's book. Okay, 1 minute of silence. Ready? You can also eat. It helps a lot. Cake. Okay, here we go. 1 minute. I will use this book to help people. All beings in the universe. Okay, good. All right, here we go. You can say you were there on the first day. Okay. Would you like someone? Why don't you read the first sentence for good luck, and then you can choose the rest.
Chang 예배 둔남바 치ebe denju leshi nimbo shukso.
Okay, nice. Chang, this is a very important day, okay? This first day is important, okay? Chang means it's a form of the verb nden. Say nden. And den means to pull something, like pull somebody, like pull on a rope or something. And it came to mean a teacher is a puller. Okay, they pull you, right, like a donkey. And then Changwa means, and there's a famous example in the monastery. Okay, and I was there when my teacher started this sentence, and we were studying it in his private room. And next door was a little kitchen, and his student was in the kitchen, and he was banging the plates, banging the cups and plates. And my teacher said, "Wait, stop the class." And he yelled out, he said, "Hey you, Koopa," like, "Hey, Mr. Stupidhead." And yes, master. "Could you do me a favor?" He says, "What?" He says, "Could you try to break every goddamn dish in our house, okay? Just today. See if you can break every dish in our house." What's that mean? Be more careful. Stop, when you wash the dishes, be more careful. You're going to break them all. Apparently he broke a lot before. Okay? Understand? That word, that sentence, "Hey, please break all the dishes we have," has to be Chang. You got to pull out a different meaning. It means, please be careful. I told you 1,000 times. Okay, got it? You have to pull out a different meaning. That's called Changden. Okay? When Buddha said nothing is empty, it was Changden. When he said everything is empty, it was Ngeden. Nge. It means what he said is what he meant. What he said is what he meant. And then when later he said, half the stuff is empty and half the stuff's not empty. He went back to Changden. Okay? So these two words you must learn. Say Changden, Ngeden. Changden means please break all the cups. Ngeden is please be more careful. Okay? All right? Okay? Very, very important in the study of any religion. All religion. You have to understand what Jesus meant, or Moses meant, or Muhammad meant. You got to understand when they meant it literally and when they didn't mean it literally. Okay? All right. Changwa number Jepa.
Distinguish.
Yeah, how to divide them. Okay? Without the apostrophe, Chepa means
To do?
to do. With the apostrophe, the meaning changes completely. And it gets pre-nasal. Say Jepa. Say Jepa. Okay, good. Yeah, here, this is Jepa, okay? And not many people can teach you to pronounce correctly. You can learn, in the mixed nuts, you can learn to do it right. And if you don't learn to do it right, you will always be confused when you read a book, okay? So, this means divide, okay? Tencha?
Classical commentary.
Yeah, and that was a big topic in Tim's book. Lekshe?
Eloquence.
Yeah, eloquence or good talk, good explanation. Ningbo.
Ningbo essence.
Yeah, essence or heart. Okay, so the short name of this book is Essence of Eloquence. Okay, the essence of good talk. Okay, that's the essence. That's the name of this book. The full name is The Essence of Eloquence on the topic of trying to distinguish between what the teacher meant and what the teacher didn't mean. Okay? And that's a huge subject for every Buddhist. You know, sometimes your teacher will tell you something, and in Buddhism, you are required to think. Okay? In Buddhism, you are not allowed to say, my teacher said so. Okay? In Buddhism, you have to use your own judgment. And that's a very big responsibility. You can make terrible mistakes. You got to know the rules for making your own judgments about things, okay? You don't just, in Buddhism, you do not blindly follow the teacher. You evaluate what they say, and you really evaluate it, and you think carefully. And then sometimes you might have to go to your teacher and say, I don't think I can do that. I don't think you really want me to do that. And in this religion, you are not just encouraged, you are required to think for yourself. After massive training. Did you hear the last part? Okay, here we go. Namo?
Namo Edmund.
And thank you, Edmund, for DSCU is successful because of Edmund and his wife Sonia and other staff, and I'm very grateful for you.
Namon Guru Man Du Chop Sha
Koshaya.
Goshaya. Nice, good. So this is Sanskrit, and Namo means?
I bow down.
Yeah. Now, AS changes to O in combinations. So the original was? Namas. And the word you is te.
Namaste.
Namaste means, hi, how you doing? But it means I bow down to you. It's a very beautiful word. So namas means I bow down to my guru.
Teacher.
Manju Koshaya.
Gentle voice.
Yeah, synonym for Manju Shri. So Manju Shri has two names, Manju Kosha and Manju Shri. Okay, you know Manju Shri. Okay. Then the long A-Y-A is the dative ending in Sanskrit. It means to you. So Manju Gosha means gentle voice, and Manju Goshaya means I bow down to gentle voice, okay? In Sanskrit, they don't have so many prepositions or postpositions, they just change the word. Like if I'm going to say to Gibson, I'll say Gibsonaya. It means I gave it to Gibson, okay? So Goshaya. Now, there's an ancient custom in ancient Tibetan pronunciation. They will say Gokaya, Manju Gokaya. Okay, and there are some deep reasons for that, which you can study someday. All right. When I told my Sanskrit teacher, who was the head of the classics department at Princeton for his whole life. When I told him the strange pronunciations of the Tibetans of Sanskrit, he said, that's unbelievable because they are correct. Okay, and the Indians are wrong. I'm like, whoa. Okay, who's going to read?
Tina.
Để dẫn
Chung.
chúng
Qin La.
chính là chúng ta sẽ ý mà
Nghe.
nè
Nyang.
nhang
Nyang. High
Nyang.
tone. Nyang.
nhang 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 là mẹ đar
Lü Mei.
lü mẹ đar bố thả cơ thọ là so rí nار
Xin Na.
xin nار
Jack Bei.
check bề gar rộ nà rộ check chó bar
Talk back.
chó bè lom bar ý nam kỳ kháng
Giang.
gắng kỳ khu.
Nice.
Thank you.
This 4 lines, by the way, this is an unusual thing that happens sometimes. It's 2 verses linked together. So it's really 8 lines. But we'll start with the first 4 lines, okay? And he gives the name of a bunch of worldly gods, okay? And I like to say these are people who are so powerful that they play marbles with planets. And if you imagine that, that's how powerful they are. When they play games, they like throw a planet and hit it, and stuff. They're very, very powerful worldly gods. We say worldly gods. And these were very, very famous in India, in ancient India, like Brahma, Indra, people like that. So he's going to list some of them. And the point I want to make as a translator is you could put their Sanskrit names here. For example, the first one is called Shambhu. Shambhu. In Sanskrit, his name is Shambhu. In Tibetan, it's called Source of Joy. 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 His name is Joy. Okay. In my opinion, the Tibetans, you see, when they got to these Hindu names and God's names, they translated them because they were beautiful and they wanted the reader to know what the name meant. Okay, so you can say Shambhu and then nobody knows what it means. His name in Tibetan is Dejung, source of happiness, like Sushumna. Okay, said Shambhu. So it means happiness. His name is joy, or his name is happiness. If I'm translating a book, I would rather use the word that the reader understands. Duh, that's called translation. Okay. So anyway, that's a strong opinion I have, as you may notice. Okay, Dejun. So the first god being mentioned, planet marble player. Powerful, super powerful. Dejo, oh source of joy. Okay. Oh Chinla Shun.
Rider on the cloud.
Yeah, oh cloud rider. Rides clouds like horse. Oh cloud rider. Or he has to come up with nice English names. Okay. Okay. How about Serki Nyao?
Born from the golden womb.
Yeah, golden womb, which is Hiranya Garbha in Hindi, in the Hindus, okay? The golden womb, which is one of their words for the universe. The golden womb. The universe was born out of the golden womb. Hiranya Garbha, very famous. Powerful. Like spits out galaxies every afternoon. Okay, that's the idea. So these guys are powerful. Then there's Lume Dakpo.
Master without the body.
Yeah, the master without the body. And this is a reference to a naughty Hindu deity, okay? And he's especially interested in, like, you're trying to focus on Gibson's text and you see the cake. And you're like, what was I talking about? No, but they say that when your mind shifts to the cake, it's this guy doing it. So he's called the master with no body. His other name is Garabwangtu, means master of pleasures. And he distracts you your whole life with a fancy car, big salary, then suddenly you're old and you're dying and you're like, hey, what happened? Okay, so he was the last one that Lord Buddha had to fight. He was the last one. Then he came to Lord Buddha like the devil came to Jesus, and he said, you can have all these riches, you can be the king of this country, you can have everything. So the temptation part, it was the same with Jesus and with Buddha. It's very interesting. Okay, Lume Dakpo, Target Do.
Belly string.
Say again?
Belly string.
Yeah, belly string. Yeah. It can refer to a string that Hindu Brahman, they wear a red string on their body, or they wear a special meditation rope around their belly. Lets them sit straight longer. Okay, Tagu Do. Do means belly, Tagu means rope. Okay, but his name is Mr. Rope Belly or something like that, string belly. Okay. And by the way, I got their Sanskrit names for you, and you have an assignment to look on the internet and find all the silly stories about these guys, because half of them are true. Okay, all right. Sina Chakpe Ngaro Chair. This C means like Sip.
Possible least life.
Yeah, Sipe Korlo. The world. Here it means the world, okay? The whole universe. Sina. Ngaro.
Rao.
Yeah, roar. Of a lion. A lion's roar is called ngaro. Okay, ngaro. Chair dog. Dog is a verb dog, like jakpa.
Cover.
To roar across the whole universe, okay? Like widely. How many gods did we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? When they talk, it's like, bah! And galaxies tremble. Seriously, okay? Chertope, Lombe Gi. Lom means delusions of grandeur. I'm so cool. I just roar and stars fall apart. Okay? Lomba Gi means they do what they do. Okay? They act out of, what do you call it? Arrogance. Okay? Super arrogant. By the way, there's a tantric vow. Nyanja Parlom. What's it mean? Nyanja Parlom. The delusion that you are a great practitioner. That's actually a tantric vow. Of course, you're not supposed to do that. Okay, so it means delusion. I'm such a. I spent 3 days in meditation at Diamond Mountain. I'm like close to Buddhahood now. Okay, all right. That's called Lomba. Lomba means delusion of grandeur. Namki Kyang Kangi Ku. Okay. Then this is supposed to be read across the verse. Okay. And it's an old poeticism. It's an old poetic device. It's like this. I'm thinking of somebody who's super handsome. I'm thinking of someone who's on his 3rd great book. I'm thinking of someone who's always helped so much. Can you guess? So it's a poetic system. It's a poetic thing. You say, Kangiku, there's somebody whose body is so amazing. And then we go to the next verse. Who's going to read it? Let's finish the next verse, whether we finish or not.
Okay. Ella.
전 외모라니 매교진
Nice. You correct it.
Okay. 책. 조벤.
Nice.
강기. 샵. 제파. 투왕. 라이. 차세.
Nice. Yay. So you have to read across the verse. Okay. When they tongue his ku,
When they see lampion.
when they see someone's body, we don't know who it is yet. It's an old poetic system. Okay? When they see someone's body, merla means in that instant. In that same instant, it's like mekir. Only word knows this word. Who said that? Tim? Yeah, firefly. You know this insect that has a light coming out of their body near rivers? Firefly, lightning bug? Yeah, probably in Chicago. They call lightning bug. And what's Nima?
The sun.
Yeah. So put the sun in the sky and then take a firefly, a lightning bug, and set them against each other. Okay? Which one has more fire? Which one has more light? You know, like the sun lights up millions of planets, you know, and then here's this little firefly like, okay? What's he saying?
Compare those God to
Yeah.
Buddha.
Yeah. Those guys who play with planets, but when they see this guy's body, he didn't tell us who yet. That's part of the poetry system. And when you translate that poetry, you shouldn't give away the secret. You should say, there's somebody who's like the sun compared to these little fireflies. Okay? And you don't tell everybody yet. Maybe in the next line. Okay? Zepar cure. Yeah, they are. By the way, the word for firefly is fire carrier. May cure. You know, okay? Zepar say. They act like a firefly when the sun comes out. Okay? And they take this zepa means
Beautiful.
very beautiful. Chepen is an ancient word for king's crown, and will be in the diamond way. There is a crown initiation, and it's a chepen is very important. Okay, so they take their crowns and they stick them on the bedma
In lotus
of his shop.
of his feet.
Yeah, so oftentimes the feet of a holy being are called the lotus because they stand inside of a lotus. You see what I mean? So when you say, I bow down to the lotus of my teacher, it means I put my head on their feet, okay? Who put their head on his feet?
Those God.
Yeah, those big shots. But when they see Buddha, they're like, oh, okay? They put their head on his feet. Immediately, bow down. Very good. Ten chepa, and ten. This ten means they rely on that practice. They bow down. Namaskar. Namaskara. Okay. Namaste. They bow down. They're like, wow. Okay. To whom? Chakselo, they bow down to Tubang.
Able one.
Yeah, the Lord of the able ones, the best Muni, Munendra, okay, which means Buddha. Our Buddha is the best of Buddhas, okay? It's not just bragging. Why is he the best of Buddhas?
Secret teaching.
He agreed to come to the worst place to be the teacher of that world, okay? Seriously, okay? Shakyamuni Buddha, of all the Buddhas in the universe, got the worst job of anybody. And when he went to the headquarters, he said, what's my assignment? They said, you have to go to Earth. He's like, no, not Earth. And they're like, so they call him the King of Buddhas because he agreed to come to our planet, to the real retarded people. Okay, all right, okay? Really cruel and dishonest people. Okay, he said, I'm up for it. I'll do it. Therefore, we call him Plaitha,
God of the God.
the God of the gods. Okay, cool? So that's the beginning of the book. Okay, even these powerful beings bow down to this Buddha, this King of Buddhas. Okay, and this is traditional way to start a Buddhist book. First, you bow down to your teachers. And he bowed down here already at the beginning. He bowed down to whom? Manjushri. And Manjushri was his private teacher. So Tsongkhapa's private teacher was the Buddha of wisdom. And there's a cute story. There was a shepherd named Umapa. And he lived in the mountains. And there was a rumor that he could speak to Manjushri. And he's just a shepherd. He's a poor shepherd, and he's dirty, and he's old, and and there's a rumor that he could speak to Manjushri directly. So Tsongkhapa went to him, and he said, Umapa, I got some questions that I can't figure out about emptiness. And I would love to ask Manjushri some details about emptiness, And he said, can you help me? And Umapa said, yeah, I'll help you. So he said, I'll be your interpreter. You ask me the question, I'll ask Manjushri. So Tsongkhapa's like, either this guy's crazy or he knows something. But it's worth it to try. So he started asking him simple questions about emptiness, and the answer was perfect. And then he got more and more complicated, and the answer was perfect, and the answer was perfect, and the answer was perfect. He said, oh my God, you really are talking to Manjushri. And Umapa's like, I told you. So he kept asking questions, and then one day Umapa said, I got all these sheep I got to take care of. And I can't be sitting around asking questions for you all the time. And if you want, I'll introduce you to Manjushri. And then you can ask him yourself. And Tsongkhapa's like, I don't know how to do that. And he said, well, I'll teach you how to talk to Manjushri. So Tsongkhapa said, that's cool. And then he taught him. And after that, he always had Manjushri to ask questions. So it's a beautiful story. And so Tsongkhapa, every time he had a question about emptiness, he just asked the Buddha. And he got answers. Okay? Including this book. Okay, done.